When the ruling elite convince the public, explicitly or tacitly, that their sovereignty and decisions are instrumental to the attainment of those things that they desire most, their rule, their actions, their expansion of power will be afforded legitimacy. Now, elite theorists disagree over whether the rulers cynically use values and ideals as mere instruments for achieving power, as put forward by Pareto and Francis, or whether these myths and ideologies answer a real need in man's social nature to feel that he is governed on the basis of a moral principle, a position held by Mosca and Gottfried. Nevertheless, all four thinkers agree that it is vital for the success of a ruling elite that they gain the assent of the masses. And this explains why the regime expends enormous effort on manufacturing consent. It is important for the masses to accept the political formula because consent is the basis for governance. A regime cannot rule by force alone. The legitimacy of political institutions rests on the active consent of the people, the joining together of the elites and masses into a common political purpose. When the political formula is rejected, the situation is ripe for reset or revolution. James Burnham argued that social revolution can occur, quote, when large sections of the elite lose confidence in themselves and the legitimacy of their own rule, and when in both elite and non-elite there is a loss of faith in the political formulas and myths that have held the social structure together. Erich Hofer likewise suggested that revolutionary movements can only be successful if they are preceded by men of words, the intelligentsia, the priestly and artistic classes who discredit the prevailing creeds and undermine the existing institutions, thereby preparing the way for a new faith or ideology, for acceptance of a violent revolutionary movement. Both thinkers were suggesting that if the values espoused by the ruling elite no longer match those held by the non-governing elite or the masses, they will lose legitimacy and will have to resort to force. It will not be long before a new elite, espousing a political formula more commensurate with the desires and values of the people, will challenge this delegitimized order. Only then will the masses be prepared to reject their old masters and throw their consent behind a new elite. This gives us a clear course of action. We should, among other things, deconstruct and discredit the political formula of the current ruling elite. To do this, we will need to question and evaluate the things that people ought to desire and value most, as may be compared to what commonly is desired most. And this requires an account of the good life. Such an endeavor will tackle the purpose of human life, and as such involves an exploration of human nature and in turn being itself. Once these issues have been addressed in this vision, then we can determine which political formula are legitimate and which are not. In other words, we can imagine what a new world might look like. What we need then is nothing less than the retrieval and construction of metaphysics, anthropology, ethics, and political theory, which is more truthful than the current regimes. It must reflect the whole corpus of human desire, as opposed to the current political formula which, as we will see, limits and distorts life to one or two of these foundational preferences. We will then need to circulate our ideas and shift the values and desires of the non-governing elite and the masses, or at least a sizable portion. And this is no mean feat because, as we were hearing yesterday, managerial elites use mass organizations of culture and communication to control the public.